exercise program together. The first thing we need to do is walking. It is our warm-up. So I'm gonna set my timer for 2 minutes and I'm gonna turn on some music to move to. So remember, I can march on the spot, but I can also walk around my home. I'm going to take my march forward. Now taking it back. Make sure that you check your ground around you to make sure you have enough room to move around. Of course, I see my table here. I won't collide into it, but I'm going to travel sideways. Starting to feel a little bit warmer. Getting my muscles ready for my exercise. Good time to think about our posture. Keeping upright, shoulders stacked over hips. Keep breathing. Feel free to add a little bit movement through those shoulders. You can shoulder roll. Changing the direction. Warming up that body. Excellent job. Keep that body moving. Oh, and now our timer, it's gone off. So we will stop that. Alrighty, so we're all warmed up now. We're gonna move into our first strengthening exercise. So we're coming over to the wall for our wall push-up. Taking my feet a couple feet away from the wall, I'm gonna place my hands, keeping a slight bend in my elbows. As I'm ready, I'm gonna slowly come down towards the wall and then press back up. I'm gonna do multiple repetitions of this exercise. It's starting to strengthen my arms and my chest. I'm keeping my body nice and long as I press into the chest and wall here. Good thing to think about your posture as we go. Keeping a nice tall body and keeping those heels down into the ground. I'm going all the way up to my 15 repetitions. And if for some reason that doesn't feel good for you, you stop at any time. You can maybe do 7 repetitions, you may do 5, or maybe you do 10. See how many you can do today. And I'm coming to my last push-up. Here we go, excellent. Release those arms, give them a little bit of a shake out. You might want to shake those wrists out, give your arms a bit of a swing. And now we're going to come to the heel raises. So my preference is to take the chair and use it as my support. We're going to stick with all the stage 1 exercises today, but of course in the other videos you're able to see what stage 2 looks like as well. So I'm going to come beside my chair. I might even want to prop my chair into that wall so I have really good stability. Feet are about hip width apart. I'm going to come up onto my toes, lifting my heels, and then slowly come back down. So I'm working through that 15 repetitions to help strengthen the lower leg. Now you want to think about those knees, that they're staying comfortably apart. They're not falling in on each other like this. They're actually staying in line with that hip. coming up and down. And I always like to think about this exercise as such an important exercise for short people in the world. Because you always have to go up on your tippy toes, like me, to reach up and grab something. So that punch bowl that you rarely use up in your cupboard, or sometimes, you know, we hide chocolate up in the cupboard as well too. So that's what this exercise is for. We want to come up onto those tippy toes and gives us the ability to grow in length and be able to reach up. Very functional movement. That calf muscle that's getting work right now is also super important for our walking. It's the main propulsive muscle that allows us to walk. So it's really important. So I'm just coming to my last repetition. Alrighty, so there was our heel raises. Now switching around, we just worked the back of the leg, the calf muscle. Now we're going to take it to the front. That's the shin on the front. We have a very thin, long muscle that runs down our tibia or our shin bone. So recall, we're using the support of the chair in stage 1, and we're going to lift those toes up. But what I've forgotten is we are timing ourselves on this one. So I'll grab my timer, set myself up for 2 minutes. Where is my timer? There we go. We'll start that for 2 minutes, everyone. 2 minutes. And we're going to lift those toes up and down. I'll step back so you can see me in the view. And remember, we're standing nice and tall. So the tendency is to want to stick our bum out to be able to lift our feet higher. Instead, keep that good posture. Now you might be wondering, why am I having to do only one foot at a time? I want to save time and do both at the same time. Well, can you see what happens to me when I do that? I start to rock. That's not what this exercise is about. It's about isolating that muscle on the front of the shin. And again, this is a really important muscle group to help us walk. The way the foot plants with every foot placement while we walk, we need that muscle to be strong. So let's not cheat and try to do 2 at the same time. Let's just focus on 1 at a time as we lift those toes up. And then, guess what? Do you have a little fiery burn happening in that shin? That is normal. That muscle is small, and we rarely work this muscle group. So that kind of feeling is just that muscle telling you, hey, I'm working really hard here. When is this 2 minutes up? Keep going. You can start to see I'm shaking. Keeping my torso nice and still as I lift those shins up. Now at any time if you need to stop, like right now, I've stopped, take a little break, but then start up again. The whole purpose is to try to do more every time. So maybe today only 30 seconds feels good for you, when in fact today or tomorrow maybe another 10 seconds could be added on, or maybe you're tired and so you decide to only do 20 seconds. So listen to your body. It's going to tell you what it needs every day. Wow, here we go. Oh, finally. I was starting to wonder when that 2 minutes was going to come up. Give the legs a bit of a shake out. Again, using that chair for support, very important. Alrighty, now just standing here, let's take the one leg out and give that ankle a nice rotation. Now release that muscle on the front and go ahead and switch the other direction. Good, and we'll come to the other side. And switch the other direction. Good. Release, release, release those legs. Okay, so the next exercise that we're going to work through are the seat walks. So we're going to take our chair, I'm going to place it here sort of in the frame a little bit more for you to see. And if you recall in the explaining videos previously that there's 2 versions. And the version I like the best is the one that actually is functional, where we're trying to move up the chair back and forth. And so I think that's the best one to practice, so that's what I'm going to do. And guess what? It's all about the timer again. So I'm going to turn on that timer for 2 minutes, and we're going to do those seat walks. Hands can be on the thighs, like so, coming to the edge and walking back. Oops, I moved my chair. And then my hands might go on my hips to feel how those hips moving. I find the chair moves quite a bit when I'm trying to move back, so you might find that too. And then I'm going to take my hands away. Now this is where I can really see if my torso, here's my torso move, my torso might be moving instead. And I really want to try to keep it as secure as possible. So we're engaging through the middle. We're making the heart work as we travel back and forth on our chair. Good job, everyone. Now here's my tendency. Let's put my hands up by my heart just to feel that heartbeat going. That chair is moving slightly, which is okay. I've got room. I made sure that I had space around me on my floor as I'm walking. Chair walks back and forth. Good job, everyone. Keep that going. If you need a break at any time, stop and take a little break. Take a little breather. If you have a glass of water close at hand, it's really nice to have a sip of water. And just see how long can you actually go for. Maybe you've done 20 seconds, you take a break. Maybe take 20-second break, then do another 20 seconds of this. Or maybe you decide just to count how many times do I go forward. I'm going to try to go forward 2 times and go back 2 times. So it's really up to you kind of how you slice and dice it and really feel out how this works best for you. Okay, whew. Done my chair walks. There we go. 2 minutes of that. If you are not hot already, whew, I am hot. That really warms the body up. We're moving right into that next exercise that is also going to be a heater upper exercise, as I like to call it. It's going to be our sit to stand exercise. So I'm going to move my armless chair out of the way for a moment and bring in my chair with arms. So the next exercise is the getting out of the chair exercise. I most commonly call it a sit to stand because literally you're sitting and then you're standing. Super big strengthener for the legs. If out of any of these exercises you only pick one, this is the one to pick. It is so important for our bodies because if we can't get out of a chair, then we're not going to get up and be able to walk or move around. So the chair stand or the sit to stand or the getting out of the chair, whatever you want to call it, is so very important. So again, we're doing stage 1 here. We're going to come to that chair, have a seat. I myself have a shorter inseam, so sitting far back makes my feet dangle. Now I don't think you can see that. Here we go. They dangle. So I need to sit forward quite a bit so that I actually feel that support underneath me. So as long as your feet are grounded into the ground, feet are going to be hip width apart. Arms are going to be using the armrests in this stage 1, but if you know you can do them without the armrests, then you go for it. We're going to do 15 repetitions. So here we go. Standing up nice and tall, and then sitting back down. The beauty of having the armrests on the chair is that you can place your hands back and know that that chair is there. Alternatively, if you feel that that chair is going to slip away or you're going to miss the chair, then go ahead and press that chair back against the wall. And so then you know that the chair's not moving anywhere because the wall is behind it. So it's a nice option to have a wall, as we do for our push-ups, then available to you for this exercise. Because again, on this sort of floor that I have, the hardwood or a linoleum or a tile floor, that chair could slide really quite easily. So making sure that that isn't going to happen for you. Great job, everyone. We have about 5 more to go. Thinking about how strong those legs are, really press down as you stand up. You might find also that when you stand up, you do squeeze the buttocks just a little bit. Good. Keep going, standing up nice and tall. And the last one. Good job, everyone. Just release those legs again, give them a little bit of a shake. Shaking in and out, in and out. Good. So then our next exercise is going to be the arm lifts, or what is called the reaching. So for this exercise, you can stay standing, and some of you may prefer to be seated. So the choice is yours. I prefer to do them standing because it's going to challenge me a lot more. So if I sit down, then my whole body weight is supported by the chair. Instead, I want to have that extra bit of work by standing up. And of course, standing is so functional. You want to be able to stand in your kitchen and chop vegetables. You want to be able to stand in line at the grocery store. So the more standing you can do and practice that at home can be so very important. All right, remember this exercise. We're bringing our right hand to shoulder height and then slowly coming down. Bringing it out to the side and then slowly coming down. And then taking that arm all the way up. Now remembering, I'm going to go to the other side, that if you can't bring your hand or arm to a certain height, maybe one side can do it and the other can't, respect your body. Go in the range of motion that you actually have. There's no reason to force yourself through a range of motion that causes pain. Any of these exercises in the home support exercise program should not be done with any pain. So discomfort might be like, oh, I'm starting to feel those toe taps. It's kind of uncomfortable. That's okay, but if there's pain, as in like stabbing pain, that's your body signaling to tell you to stop. So respect your body and make sure that you're moving within the range of motion that's most healthy for you. All of us have a different physiology and a different way that our body is made up. We've had different histories and different things have happened to us. So it's really important that you do things that fit your body, even if it looks different from what you can see in the video or on the handout. In terms of this exercise, you might start to feel a little bit of openness happening through those shoulders. As we move, the body likes to send a signal to our joints. And primarily, they're called our synovial joints. And those joints have extra lubrication to allow them to move. And so the body signals our joints to tell the body to produce a little bit more, what I like to call WD-40, a little bit more lubrication. So you might find that you are slowly able to move your arms through a greater range of motion. As we get closer to our 10th repetition, I definitely can tell with my arms overhead that I can move that arm even further, even higher than I did with my first repetition. That is definitely possible to have that occur. All right, my friends, we're almost making it to the very end. As you can imagine, this one takes a little bit of time because we have to do both sides. And now if you wanted the challenge, this would up the ante a lot if you were to do both arms at the exact same time. I'm not recommending that here in this program right now, but for those of you who've done it for, let's say, 6 months to a year, you may find that you want to incorporate that into your program. It'll make the program a little bit quicker and it'll make it a little bit harder. Excellent. We'll do one more on each side, up in front, out to the side, and then all the way up. Good. Up in front, out to the side, and then all the way up. Excellent job. Just give those arms a bit of a shake out. So just for a review, we've done our walking for our warm-up. We did our toe raises, so we're lifting up onto our toes, raising our heels up. We did our toe taps together. We then did our, would have been our seat walks, our sit to stand, and now our reaching. And so now we have 3 more exercises to go. The next exercise is the leg lifts. So remember, we do one side, then we do one direction, then we'll do another direction, and then we'll do the other direction. 3 directions to this exercise, as is with the reaching. So my preference is always to have a chair for this one. I really, truly like a chair for me personally more than the tabletop. So in terms of that here, I'm going to stand so that my body is parallel to the chair. And then from here, I'm going to keep my leg closest to the chair straight, bend my outside leg, and start to lift that leg forward. So here I'm going to do 15 repetitions of that leg lift. Slow and controlled. We have a muscle that runs across the hip, from the leg bone across the hip to the low back. It is called a hip flexor. And that is the muscle that I'm using to lift my leg up. So I don't need to swing my leg up. I need to control and use that muscle to lift my leg up. So really important that it's not about momentum in this exercise. It's slow and controlled movement. Good, and you can see you don't have to go very high. I could stay here, right? Good work, everyone. Starting to feel that leg, but you're also sort of feeling the support leg. It's doing a lot of work too to hold you in place. Great, excellent. Release that. We'll come to the opposite side. I'm going to move my chair over so that I can do the other side. Here we go. Slight bend in that leg that's going to move. Grounding into that straight leg and then slowly lifting that leg up. Now watching that support leg is still staying nice and tall. I can have the tendency to fall into that hip, so I really need to lift out and do what is called a hip lift. Good. Now, cueing breathing. Is everyone breathing? I hope so. This is very important, particularly when we're working through large muscle groups. The demand of oxygen is higher on the body because there's more muscle that needs more oxygen. So make sure you're taking nice deep breaths. You might want to exhale as you exert yourself. That's when you bring the leg up. And inhale as you release that leg. Really staying strong and tall through the torso. Keeping the shoulders down. And hand relaxed on the chair. Good. I think I'm getting close to my last one. My form is starting to go. Good. And then just shake the legs out. If you want to try just sitting down, bend your knees and flexing a little bit through those hips. And just rock the hips from side to side. That might feel a little good. So my friends, that was only one of 3 parts of this exercise. So if you need to take a break, go ahead and have a sit down, pause the video. If you're ready for more, we will continue on to our side leg lift. So I'm gonna ground through this leg, my inside leg, slightly bend that outside leg, and then from here I'm gonna just lift that leg out to the side. These exercises not only are good for leg strength and hip strength, they also challenge our balance. So we now only have one foot supporting us as we lift the other one out to the side. Stay nice and tall through the torso. Very small movement again. It doesn't need to be a big kick. Because if I kick big, guess what happens? Oh, I kick the table, but I also come over to the side. We don't need to do that. Slow and controlled. Use the muscle on the outside of the hip to generate the movement. Good work. I think I'm getting close to the end already. We'll switch to the other side. Coming on. Solid through that first leg. Bend the knee. Get some support. And then come out to the side. Oh, I'm a little wobbly on this one. Here we go. There we go. So posture again. Good time to check that posture. Shoulders over hips, hips over ankles, gentle bend through both knees so we're not hyperextending the knee. Small controlled motion. Good. Keeping the torso tall. Breathing. Making sure I'm counting in my head how many repetitions I've done. I'm working towards 15. Oh, my technique's starting to go. I'm getting tired. One more. Here we go. And then release. Go ahead and plant those feet, bend those knees, and go ahead and rock those hips from side to side. This might feel good. Or alternatively, take the legs quite wide and we'll do some hip rotation. Almost like you have a hula hoop around your hips and you're making that hula hoop action. Ooh, I don't know if you can hear my hip, it just gave me a little pop. So little movements, gonna make maybe some little sounds in those joints. That's okay. There's a little bit, of course, we're not working in any pain. So we don't want pain. There may be a little discomfort with how hard you're working on those hips, but there could be sound. So don't be worried about that if you hear a little crack or crickle, or mine was like a pop. I have my own issues in my hips. Okay, so last part 3 of 3 for our hip lifts is going to be the movement going back. We're going back. So from this perspective, you might want to prop this chair against the wall so that the chair is stable. And I'm going to come and stand behind it. My back will be to you, and I'm going to take my leg back behind. Thinking about both of my hips staying forward. They're going to want to open up to the side potentially. So really ensuring that the movement is small and the pelvis stays facing forward. This exercise is also really important for our walking. We load our back leg every time we step, so this is an important exercise to keep the rear body through the buttocks nice and strong to help us with our walking. And last one, good. Just relax those legs for a moment. Another thing that can happen, I'll give you the side view, is as I lift my leg back, I want to arch my back. We really do not want that. So that means that you're kicking your leg too far back behind you. You want to keep the natural curve of your lumbar spine, of your low back, and try not to kick the leg too far back. So on our second leg, I'm going to try really hard to stand up nice and tall. Use the support of my chair and take that leg back and back. Really keeping long through that spine. I'm not arching through the back. And that bent knee is so important here, because if my leg is straight, I wouldn't be able to swing my leg forward. I kind of hit the ground. So that slight bend in the knee is really helpful to get this exercise done. Continue to breathe. We won't hold our breath. Lift out of that support leg. It is doing a whole heck of a lot as well. And 15. Good work, everyone. Whew. Give those legs a bit of a shake. Again, I'm going to rock from side to side. I might take that hula hoop option. There we go. Hip lifts. Strong through those hips. Now, if you're finding that all 3 parts are too much for you, then go ahead to pick one way of movement each session that you do and slowly build up so that you can do all 3 in one session, because they are targeting different muscle groups. The other alternative is to not obviously do all those repetitions. Start with the 5 and work your way up and try to get through the forward, the side, and then the back motion. Alrighty, we've made it very much close to the end. Now it is the standing stretch. So I like to call this exercise actually a calf stretch, because that's what's going to be targeted in this exercise. So I'm going to take my chair, place it up against the wall, stand behind the chair. I'm going to drop back one of my feet. From here, I'm squaring my hips forward to the back of my chair, bending generously through that front knee, but try to keep so that if I look down, I can see the toes of my one foot. Press that heel down and back, and I'm going to hold this for about 15 to 30 seconds. You're actively trying to go forward, so that weight of your body is coming forward so that you can press all the way back through that heel. Now, of course, the chair isn't necessary. I like the chair because of the height, but you could also just do this at the wall. The picture does show a chair in the handout, but you could do it at the wall. Excellent, and release. And we'll drop that other foot back. Take a quick look down to see your feet are parallel to one another, and then shifting that knee forward, pressing that back heel down, lifting up through the front body and the chest, and try to stay as upright as you can. Press that back heel down. We're stretching now the muscle that we would have been contracting or using on our toe lifts, or on our heel lifts when we were lifting our heel up. That's the muscle that's getting stretched. Good, and release. Then our final exercise for the home support exercise program is our seated stretch. And this is where the footrest comes into play. And again, if you don't have a footrest, potentially you could use stacked pillows or a stack of books, something that you can support the foot on. That's all that you're looking for. So I'm going to face you this part here. So I'm sitting here, my chair is in line with the stool. I again am on the edge of my seat because of my short inseam. I need my feet grounded. I have to have contact with the floor. So if you need that, sit slightly forward. And then we'll bring our heel up onto that chair. With that straight leg, I'm going to take one hand on top of the other and then slowly shift forward, hinging at my hips, keeping my neck an extension of my spine. So thinking nice and long through the spine, not rounding over. Stay long, pressing into your heel and lengthening through the back of the back body here, behind the calf, behind the leg, finding length. Good, and then placing your hands on that thigh, pushing yourself back up, and we'll come to, come to the other side. Sitting up nice and tall, feeling those creases of your hips, taking a nice deep breath in, and as you exhale, hinging forward, letting those hands slide and glide down that leg, finding length through the back of the straight leg, and letting the head be a long extension of the spine. So try not to fall forward on the leg. Think about bringing the torso up and over the thigh. Good, and then slowly walk those hands back, releasing that foot down onto the ground. So there you have it. There is the home support exercise program, one set of 15 of all of those exercises. Now, of course, you can stop this video and start it over again and go through it all again if you wanted to get that second set in of exercises as well. With the home support exercise program, you decide how many repetitions, you decide the time, you decide how many times, how many sets you do, so how many groupings of reps that you do. It's definitely at your discretion. There's a lot of flexibility as to how this program presents for you. So hopefully you've enjoyed this whole run through of all 10 exercises of the home support exercise program, and I really hope this video serves you well. Hope you enjoy it.